Today's gospel presents us with a theme of servant leadership and what that looks like. Jesus began by pointing his disciples to himself as the model of a servant leader, but they couldn't understand him, and they were busy arguing among themselves about who was the greatest. They failed to see the answer to their question, not only in the words of Jesus, but also in himself, who expresses true greatness in humble service to humanity, even to the point of suffering. This idea of a suffering Messiah is common in the Gospel of Mark, and we can see it also in his teaching on being the greatest, the first, and the leader. It greatly captures the idea of Christian discipleship in imitation of our God, who in the person of Jesus chose to be the servant of his creatures, even to the point of suffering. It wasn't easy for his disciples to understand, and neither is it easy for us merely looking at how we handle our various leadership positions in our families and the society. Do we see ourselves more as servants or as leaders? We need to see ourselves as leaders by way of service, as servant leaders. To help his disciples understand this, he pointed them to a child, telling them that to receive anyone like the child in his name is to welcome him. Such a gesture is what it means to be a servant leader. So what does it mean to receive a child? As many of us know, a child is by nature very dependent and sometimes can be difficult to handle. Also, in the ancient world, children were seen as non-persons without rights and opinions. So to welcome a child is to welcome the huge responsibility of becoming a leader by way of a servant to that child. It is to embrace loving service to the most vulnerable and the least among us. When we look at the word for a child, both in Aramaic and Greek, it also means a servant. So Jesus is asking us to become servants of servants and to imitate him who first became our servant, even to the point of suffering and dying for us. Only if we understand and embrace this idea of being a leader in service and cultivate the virtues of humility and patience, which are necessary in becoming a servant leader, can we be able to control our unhealthy passions. Looking around the world, amid the beautiful things are also the horrors of selfishness, hatred, divisions, wars, and lack of charity, all of which are products of being enslaved to our unhealthy passions. Though we desire the good, but we fail in the virtues that are necessary in acquiring those goods for the common good and for the glory of God. We can learn from Jesus what transforming one's passions for the good looks like. May the passion of Jesus Christ purify our passions and desires, and may we learn from his passion through greatness and leadership by way of humble service. Amen.